Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our webinar brought to you by the Philippine Women's University School of Food Science and Technology Graduate Studies. Please be reminded of the house rules of the webinar. Number one, please ensure a stable internet connection. There will be a 5-minute question and answer session after each speaker's presentation. Type in your question in the chat box and in the comment section of Facebook and YouTube for the Q&A session. For the evaluation form, please click pinned link at the chat box and comment section at Facebook and YouTube. Cut-off for the submission is only until 5:30 p.m. Only registered participants who completed the evaluation form will receive the e-certificate. Participants of AM and PM session will be given a separate e-certificates.
Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today's webinar series, Food Quality and Food Safety, Right Mix to a Healthier Lifestyle. My name is Jado Rosario, and joining with me is my gorgeous moderator, Ms. Nika Arenas. I'm sure some of you attended this morning session. For this afternoon, we will serve you with 3 more relevant and interesting topics.
That's right, Jao. We would like to acknowledge the presence of our special guest, Dr. Maria Ligaya T. Braganza, our beloved program chair, Dr. Ignacio S. Pablo, our supportive Dean Emeritus, Mr. Marco Alfredo M. Benitez, our Honorable President, and Mr. Glenn Hyde de la Cruz, Food Safety and Hygiene Consultant. Welcome to our webinar. And also those who are tuning in our FB Live and YouTube, we would like to welcome all of you to this session entitled Safe and Healthy Food Choices for Tomorrow.
No, Nika, before our first speaker discusses her topic, we want to see the participation of our dear attendees by answering a quick poll question. It's suitable only for the participants here in the Philippines. We'll be flashing the question and kindly scan the QR code shown in your screen. Or click the link in the video description or comment section for the participants using Facebook and YouTube channel. And 2 lucky winners will get the right answer will receive 100 pesos worth of load. So Nika, what is our first poll question for today?
Here is the question. Eating non-organic produce can expose you to? These are the choices. Letter A, potentially harmful pesticide levels. Letter B, safe levels of pesticides. And letter C, no proven health problem. Okay, you may now take a pick and you have a minute to key in your answers. Enter your email, name, contact number, and your answer to the question provided. Okay, I repeat the choices. Letter A, potentially harmful pesticide levels. Letter B, safe levels of pesticides. And letter C, no proven health problem. You have 45 seconds left to answer. Okay, 30 seconds left. Good back to you guys. Later on, we will announce the 2 winners of the 100 pesos food.
Yes, that's right, Nika. Very exciting.
Okay. So time's up. Thank you, dear participants, for answering our first poll question.
So just an update, Nika, before we introduce our first speaker, we now have total of 312 Facebook viewers, while about there are 66 viewers from our YouTube channel. I know we're all getting excited, so let's proceed to the introduction of the first speaker. She earned her bachelor's degree in food technology from the Central Luzon State University. She finished her postgraduate studies of teacher and certificate program in Arroyo Finma University. Currently, she is working as instructor one under the University Resource Center on the Department of Food Science and Technology at the Central Luzon State University. So, a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the chat box. And now, without further ado, please welcome Ms. Baby Lavisa, our first speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Zhao, for the introduction. Again, I'm Maybe Villavisa, and I will be discussing about organic farming and agricultural boom. First of all, I would like you to ask question. Have you ever found yourself debating whether to buy organic food versus conventionally grown foods? May I request our participants to drop their answer in the comment section. Okay, some of the viewer answered yes, and that is right. Any day at the supermarket, consumers have the options of buying foods from conventional produce farms that use chemical pesticides and herbicides or organic foods. Another question is, how can you tell the difference of organic versus conventional produce? Again, may I request our participants to drop their answer in the comment section. Okay, thank you. Physically, there is no major difference between the two. They look very similar and most often taste very similar too. So later on, I will discuss further saan nga ba sila nagkaiba. So before fruits and vegetables harvested and sell in the market, it all started with planting of seeds or seedlings, and that is farming. Organic farming referring to the production methods that do not use synthetic pesticides, chemical fertilizers, or genetically modified organisms. So in short, when we say organic farming, it is chemically free. Another definition of organic farming, it is a recycling of nutrients and natural means of pest and disease. So sabi nila, kapag ang gulay ay may mas maraming butas, mas maganda kasi hindi ito na bugbog sa spray. Organic farming produce soil quality in the sense na nagkakaroon ng chemical depletion dun sa soil, but it strengthens the carbon consuming potential. For crop diversity, it enabled to evolve and adapt to meet the never-ending challenge of sustainably producing sufficient and nutritious food for an increasing population. And last, protecting the health of workers and consumers and reducing the environmental impacts of production. Republic Act number 10068, or known as the Organic Agriculture Act of 2010. So this act is to provide for the development and promotion of organic goods in the Philippines. However, this law was recently amended by Republic Act number 11511, which introduced the nationwide educational and awareness campaign on the benefits of consuming organic products. So, para mas maliwanagan ang mga tao, ano nga ba ang health benefits na makukuha when you eat organic foods? Another one is the adoption of the participatory guarantee system as a community of group-based certification process other than third-party certification. So para nga naman mas makatipid sa pagpapa-accredit ang mga farmer kasi kung individual ang certification, mas mapapamahal nga naman sila. And last, protection of organic resources against contamination by genetically engineered organisms, including crops, livestock, and poultry and marine products. Next slide, please. So in the Philippines, organic agriculture is increasingly being featured in media report. So typically, the focus is on certain associated stereotypes such as chemical-free products or particular farming practices such as use of organic fertilizer. A number of products are grown organically in the Philippines, but the volume remains small. So this includes fruits and vegetables, herbs and spices, along with rice, soybean, and honey. So some livestock and fertilizer are also sold as organic products. So the main organic export products, on the other hand, include muscovado brown sugar, fresh bananas, banana chips, and coconut oil. So the agency responsible for the implementation of organic goods in the Philippines is the Department of Agriculture. DA takes the lead in implementing the National Organic Agriculture Program, spearheaded by the National Organic Agriculture Board through the cooperation of various stakeholders of the organic industry. So the program aims to promote, propagate, further develop, and implement the practice of organic agriculture in the Philippines towards a competitive and sustainable organic agriculture industry. So when farmers decided to convert their agricultural farm, they must follow and meet the minimum requirements of the Philippine National Standard for Organic Agriculture from the beginning of the conversion period onwards. So the minimum requirement for annual crops is at least 12 months before the start of the production cycle. So when we say annual crops, all roots, stems, and leaves of the plant die annually. So one season lang siya yearly. So for example, dito is yung watermelon. However, for the perennials, at least 18 months of management according to the full standard requirements before the first harvest. So perennial crops can live longer than 2 years, so without the need for replanting each year. So example dito yung calamansi, mango, and so on. So the required conversion period may be reduced for the following conditions. So first, land which have not been cultivated for the past 3 years, including lands used as pasture and timberland. So ito yung mga lupang hindi nagalaw at mga damo lang yung mga tumubo. So areas practicing traditional agricultural practices. So these areas shall be verified through reliable means and resources and sources. So in such cases, inspection shall be carried out at least 6 months, which fulfill the requirements of this standard before the first harvest. And for farm practicing organic agriculture for at least 18 months, inspection shall be carried out at least 6 months before the harvest. For the areas not exposed to prohibited inputs for a minimum of 3 years, no conversion period is required in the case of non-cultivated land, but surveillance is conducted every 6 months. So in order to grant reduction of the prescribed conversion period, written documents must be submitted, such as proof that the land was cultivated under practices allowed for organic agriculture for the past 2 years. And if a farm is not converted all at once, or if certification is withdrawn from a piece of land, the responsible operator should ensure separation. So lands that have been heavily treated with synthetic chemicals shall undergo conversion for a minimum of 3 years. So before the start of the production cycle. So the product to be sold conversion must be placed in version. So to inform the customer that the farm is from inorganic farming. So moving on, chicken manure or chicken litter based organic fertilizers are usually recycled into the soil to improve the structure and fertility of agricultural land. So poultry manure contains significant amount of nitrogen because of the presence of high levels of proteins and amino acids. However, chicken litter is the source of human pathogens such as Salmonella, Campylobacter jejuni, and Listeria monocytogenes, so that can potentially contaminate the fresh produce or the environment and also the food supply. So now let's go back. So the chicken litter is the source of human pathogens such as Salmonella, Campylobacter jejuni, or and Listeria monocytogenes that can potentially contaminate fresh produce or the environment and are frequently associated with foodborne outbreaks. So direct application of chicken litter to agricultural land can possibly be harmful to the environment and also the food supply. So the first step in composting chicken manure is to collect manure in the bed, followed by carbon to nitrogen balance, a combination of 30 parts of carbon to 1 part of nitrogen creates the ideal environment for microbes to break down organic material to produce compost. So the next step is the use of hot compost recipe. So by combining the correct ratio of bedding and manure at one time to form a pile, approximately 1 cubic yard, then adding the moisture will produce a hot pile. So it's recommended that the compost pile heat at least 130 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit or 6 to 5 degrees Celsius and maintain the temperature for 3 days. So the most pathogenic bacteria are destroyed at 60 degrees Celsius. So we can say that the pathogenic microorganism present in chicken manure destroy using this method. So heating is necessary to destroy pathogens, but temperatures above 160 degrees Fahrenheit or 71 degrees Celsius can kill beneficial microorganisms and slow the process. So para sure ka sa temperature, so better you put temperature gauge. So next step is repeat the heating process. So once the center of your compost pile has reached the required temperature for 3 days, it will start to cool. And after it cools, yung gitna, aalisin mo At yung nasa edges ang ilalagay sa gitna. Para naman yung gitna yung mag-init. And for 1 cubic yard of material, repeat the process of bringing edges into the core at least 3 times. So, next is curing. So, parang meat processing lang ito, di ba? So, meron din curing, but in different way. So, after heating process, you need to monitor kung yung buong file pa na ay na-maintain na niya yung heat. Then, if you are satisfied, medyo luluwagan niyo na yung takip or yung cover niya para hindi na siya mag-init pang uli. At yung tipong nakakahinga na yung materials nyo. And let it cure for 45 to 60 days before using. So, ang indication na kapag okay na yung organic material nyo is yung kulay niya is nag-turn into dark, crumbly, and smells sweet smelling like a soil. So organic farming is becoming popular in Nueva Ecija. Some farmers in these areas have started to convert their farms through the encouragement of Full of Grace. So Full of Grace implements first-party verification. So farmers sell their organic produce to Full of Grace, which in turn supplies to big supermarkets or malls in Metro Manila. Full of Grace also provides inputs to farmers. So as you can see in the table, organic and conventional methods are different in chemical applications. So in terms of fertilizer, weeding, and disease management. So in weeding, honestly speaking, most of the farmers prefer the use of herbicides. Kasi naman, sobrang hirap nga naman kung manual weeding ang gagawin. So this is the reason kaya maraming farm ang nagiging conventional kasi karamihan ay gumagamit ng herbicides instead of manual weeding. Next is the price. As we all know, kapag organic foods, predetermined yung price niya. So, laging mataas yung presyo. However, the price of inorganic goods is fluctuating. So, hindi alam ni farmer anong crops ang itatanim niya sa ganitong season na kapag umani ay mataas yung presyo. So, most of the crops in Nueva Ecija, especially tomato, kapag nagsabay-sabay na si farmer umani at yung presyo ay nasa 35 pesos per kahon, hinahayaan na lang mabulok sa puno at hindi na siya pinipitas. So in this figure, the production cost and yield of organic farming is lower compared to conventional. However, the price of commodity is greater than conventional. So to sum up, the net income for organic farming is twice than conventional. Table shows the price comparison of organic versus non-organic. So as you can see in the table, the dairy commodity is almost 100% higher than non-organic. So bakit kaya? So this is because the investment in animals such as carabao and cow are costly compared to chicken. So these animals when get sick and die, ang laki ng puhunan na mawawala sa raiser. So another reason is matagal ang panahon na hihintayin ni raiser bago pakinabangan yung milk ng cow or carabaos. Unlike chicken, it only takes few months at mangingitlog na agad. So look at the price of chicken egg. It has only 61%. So paano nga ba ang proseso ng organic goods bago makarating sa market? So at the farm, a designated quality controller inspect the harvest before products are packed. So the controller supervises the grading, weighing, packaging, and transport of the produce. So these are delivered to Full of Grace packing house for final packing and delivery to Robinsons and Walter Mart. So full of grains deducts 0.25 centavo per kilo of vegetables sold for capital buildup. Now let's talk about GMO. So the use of genetic engineering or genetically modified organisms is prohibited in organic products. So this means an organic farmer can plant GMO seeds. An organic cow can eat GMO alfalfa or corn, and an organic soup producer can use any GMO ingredients. So to meet the USDA organic regulations, farmers and processors must show they aren't using GMOs and that they are protecting their products from contact with prohibited substances such as GMOs from farm to table. So para makasiguro na GMO yung itatanim mo, so dapat certified organic seed na lang yung bibilin mo. Operators implement preventive practices based on site-specific risk factor to prevent cross-pollination with GMO crops grown adjacent to organic fields. So the prevention practices that farmers do is that they plant their seeds early or late to avoid organic and GMO crops flowering at the same time. So which can lead to cross-pollination. So wheat pollinated crops have different considerations for risk prevention than insect pollinated crops or self-pollinating. So another way to prevent so alternatively, organic crops can be used to purge combines and similar equipment, provided that the purge equipment is not sold or represented as organic. So, ang hirap nga naman nun, di ba? Pinagsikapan mong i-convert yung farm mo into organic, then hindi mo pwedeng ibenta yung fruits or vegetables mo na organic kasi gumamit ka ng equipment from conventional. So, kaya kung maaari, i-separate na lang yung tools for GMO and organic. In addition to practices, farmers harvest their crops prior to flowering or sign cooperative agreement with neighboring farms to avoid planting GMO crops next to organic ones.
But not the least is the designation of buffer zone.
A buffer zone is an area located between a certified production operation or portion of a production operation and an adjacent land area that is not maintained under organic management. So the organic standards do not specify how wide a buffer zone should be, but state that the buffer zone be adequate to prevent the unintended application of a prohibited substance to organic crops. So many certifying agents use 50 feet or 50.24 meters as a common starting buffer width between organically managed crops and potential sources of contamination. What good things to know about organic foods? First is the health benefits. Organic
Fight to cancer, stroke, and heart problems. So, Scottish scientists found that organic vegetable soup contains almost 6 times as much salicylic acid as non-organic vegetable soups. So salicylic acid is the main ingredient in aspirin. It helps fight hardening of the arteries and bowel cancer and is produced naturally in plants as defense against stress and disease. Second, according to a recent study by the Globe and Mail of CTV News of the nutrient quality of fruits and vegetables compared to 50 years ago, today regular fruits and vegetables contain dramatically less vitamins and minerals. So according to the study conducted by Gopalakrishnan's 2019, the average potato has lost 100% of its vitamin A, 57% of its vitamin C and iron, 28% of its calcium, and 50% of its riboflavin, and 18% of its thiamine. So, better taste in organic food. So, some people strongly believe that organic food tastes better than non-organic food. So the prominent reason for this belief is that it is produced using organic means of production. So aside from that, organic food often sold locally. At dahil dito lang din ang market sa atin, nami-maintain ito yung freshness ng product, which tastes better than frozen goods and shipped across long distances. Four is great taste in organic food. So organic food tastes delicious and it makes sense why it does healthy soils and plants make food that tastes the best. So in a number of studies, people who have done taste tests almost always choose the wonderful taste of organic food over processed and food tainted by chemicals. So based on my experience, there are times na nakakabili ako ng mga prutas na may lasang chemicals. So kahit na ibabad ko siya ng matagal sa tubig na may asin, so even sabunin ko, nalalasahan ko pa din. So take note so nabalatan pa yung prutas ko nabili. So sabi nila, nasa balat daw ang sustansya. Pero ngayon, ang hirap din kumain ng prutas na may balat, especially yung apple. Organic food is safer than conventional foods. So farmers in Canada, Kansas, and Nebraska who use the pesticide 2,4-D suffer a higher rate of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So this is a cancer. So there is a strong association between breast cancer and exposure to chemical pesticides. Atrazine, a common ingredient in pesticides, causes breast cancer. So this study was conducted on rat. So another study showed that women whose breast is stored at the highest level of a lintane, like residue, were 10 times more likely to have breast cancer than women with lower levels. So by the way, lintane is a pesticide. So the health benefits of organic foods are more based on perceptions than real facts. So another problem in conventional farming is the pesticide contamination. So the only way to avoid pesticide residues is to switch to organic foods. So some food tends to have lower pesticide residues, either because fewer pesticides are used in their production or because they have thicker skins and when peeled contain smaller amounts of pesticides than more thin-skinned products. So children are particularly susceptible to the effect of pesticides exposure because they have developing organ systems that are more vulnerable and less able to detoxify toxic chemicals. So pesticide exposure also occur through foods, and switching to an organic diet is an important step in reducing this exposure. Organic farming is also suitable to our environment. Yes, of course. So, organic food production eliminates soil and water contamination since organic production strictly avoids the use of all synthetic chemicals. Second is organic food production helps preserve local wildlife by avoiding toxic chemicals, using upmix planting as a natural pest control measure, and maintaining field margins and edges. Organic farming provides a retreat to local wildlife rather than taking it away its natural habitat like conventional agriculture. Third, organic food production helps to conserve biodiversity. So, avoidance of chemicals and use of alternative all natural farming methods has been shown to help conserve biodiversity as it encourages a natural balance within the ecosystem and helps prevent domination of particular species over the others. And last, organic food production helps fight against global warming. So most organically produced food is distributed locally. So as a result, less energy is used for transportation, which automatically reduces carbon dioxide emission, which are believed to be the main cause of global warming. So, number eight, antibiotic resistance. So, people are very sensitive to issues of their health, and they often take precautions to make sure they remain healthy. So, like getting virus vaccines and taking antibiotics as soon as a new strain of bacteria makes them ill. So, however, non-organic food sources, particularly livestock and feed houses, also use antibiotics to feed their animals. So this extra dose of antibiotics may actually be weakening human immune system by basically overdosing on antibiotics, thereby reshaping our immune system so many times that it will eventually be unable to defend itself. And organic food growers and dairy farmers do not use antibiotics in their processes. Okay, nine, greater antioxidant value. So another advantage of eating organic food is that it has greater antioxidant value. So antioxidants are important nutrients found in fresh fruits and vegetables and have been shown to impart multiple health benefits, including the prevention of many cancers. So some studies show that organic foods may have more antioxidants compared to commercial varieties. Okay. Organic is high standards. So, organic foods to meet extremely high standards to qualify to be called organic. Okay. So, bakit kaya? So, alam ng mga producers na kapag sinabing organic, mahal yung presyo. So, kaya naman marami ang nagsasamantala. So, merong iba hindi naman certified na organic farm, pero kapag itininda nila, sasabihin nila organic to. So, as a consumer, maniniwala ka ba or hindi? So, dapat hindi. Kasi kung maniniwala ka at bibilin mo yung tinda nila ng presyong organic, ikaw din yung talo. So, kaya importante nating malaman ang proper labeling. So, moving on, let's discuss the proper labeling of organic food. So, the purpose of labeling is to provide necessary information about the food products. So the Food and Drug Administration does not regulate the use of the term organic on food labels. The National Organic Program, or NOP, is the federal regulatory framework governing organically produced crops and livestock. So the USDA oversees the program and enforces the NOP regulations and standards. So there are four distinct labeling categories for organic products. So number one, so in the 100% organic category, products must be made of 100% certified organic ingredients. So the label must include the name of the certifying agent and may include the USDA organic seal and or the 100% organic claim. Second, so in the organic category, so the product and ingredients must be certified organic, except where specified on national list of allowed and prohibited substances. So non-organic ingredients allowed per the national list may be used, but no more than 5% of the combined total ingredients may contain non-organic content. So additionally, the label must include the name of the certifying agent and might include the USDA organic seal and or the organic claim. So for the multiple ingredient products in the made with organic category, at least 70% of the product must be certified organic ingredients. So the organic seal cannot be used on the product and the final product cannot be represented as organic. Only up to 3 ingredients or ingredients categories can be represented as organic. So multiple ingredient products with made with less than 70% certified organic content would fall under the specific organic ingredients and don't need to be certified. So these products cannot display the USDA organic seal or use the word organic on the principal display panel. So they can list certified organic ingredients in the ingredient list and the percentage of organic ingredients. So this is a good place to start for companies interested in moving towards organic because consumers read ingredients list. Just like with made with organic above, this shows that a company is committed to incorporating organic ingredients into their products. So that ends my presentation. So I hope may natutunan kayo kahit kaunti so that you can make your own organic farm in your place and choose the right food you eat. So thank you.
Wow, Miss May, that was really informative. Now we are all aware why organic farming is being preferred by most. Thank you, Miss May, for that very interesting discussion. For that, our attendees surely have questions to our speaker. So now let's start the question and answer portion. Miss may we request for you to open your camera so that our participants can see you during the Q&A portion? Miss May?
Okay.
So while waiting for Miss May's camera, so I have some questions here, Nika. So for the first question from Miss Danica Mayniegos, yes, wait for Miss May. So while waiting, the question is, why are organic foods often more expensive than conventionally grown products? So the first
Oh,
question again, why are organic foods often more expensive than conventionally grown products?
okay. Thank you, Zhao, for the question. So, like what I said a while ago, that organic farmers often experience more crops loss than conventional farmers, so resulting in a smaller harvest. And their pesticides and seeds typically cost more than those conventional farmers can use. So, organic farmers with livestock may also experience animal laws than that of conventional farmer. So for example, an organic poultry operation must allow year-round access to the outdoors, so which increases the risk of exposure to predators and weather-related injuries and or death. So in addition, farmers in the 3-year transitional period to become certified organic often experience financial losses. So, and they may try to recoup those losses once they receive their certification. So, that's all. I hope, Mr. Zhao, nasagot ko po ng maayos yung tanong.
Yes, Miss May, very informative. How about you, Nika? Do you have a question?
Before we proceed with our next question, we would like to apologize if Miss May
Oh,
can't open her camera. Maybe she's
Okay.
experiencing some
Yes
difficulty.
po. Sa akin po naka-open yung camera ko, pero bakit
Oh,
hindi po naka-open sa inyo?
all right.
okay, that's okay, Miss May. Let's
Yes.
proceed. We have a question here from Miss Sherry Ann Santa Maria. Her question is there a possibility to certify oil as organic? I repeat, Miss May, this is the question. Is there a possibility to certify oil as organic?
Okay, thank you for the question. So, sa pagkakatanda ko, regulations number 834, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, applies to process agricultural products for use as food. So, therefore, essential oils produced from agricultural ingredients intended for food consumption can be certified as organic, provided that the requirements set out in the regulations are complied with. So, furthermore, essential oil used as food also need to respect the relevant requirements laid down in European Union legislation, so on foodstuffs. So finally, cosmetic products, for example, is essential oils are not covered by the scope of the EU organic legislation. So because they are not intended for human consumption and cannot therefore be certified as organic under regulations number 834, nor be labeled or advertised using the EU organic logo. That's all.
Thank you, Miss May. Do we have a next question, Zhao?
Okay. Third to four last question, Miss May from Miss Charlene J. Cabral. Can dried tobacco leaves be certified as organic? I repeat again. Can dried tobacco leaves be certified as organic?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zhao, for the questions. Dried tobacco leaves are a processed products not for use as food or feed, and therefore cannot be certified as organic under regulations number 834. So moreover, even if a member states might have national legislations or private standards. So the article, kung hindi ako rin nagkakamali, Article 13 of Directive 2014 prohibits labeling of tobacco products with any elements or features suggesting that a particular tobacco product has organic properties. Yan po.
Okay, thank you, Miss May. I think we have here our final question for Miss May. This is from Laini Rosales. The question is, how can a small producer of organic honey be allowed to use the EU organic certification and which will be the cost? I repeat, Miss May, this is the question. How can a small producer of organic honey be allowed to use the EU organic certification and which will be the cost?
Okay, thank you, Nika, for that question. So again, the regulation, like that I said before, is the regulation number the 834, lays out the rules on organic production and labeling of organic products. So the operators must adhere to the organic control systems, which require notifying the activity to the competent authorities and submitting the undertaking to the control system in accordance with above mentioned regulation. So regarding the cost of organic certification, Article 28 of that regulation states that member states shall ensure that any operators who comply with that rule of regulations and uh, pays a reasonable fee as a contribution to the control expenses is entitled to be covered by the control system. So that's all, Miss Nika.
I think it's enough for the Q&A session. Thank you to you, Ms. May, and to our participants who have sent their questions in the comment box. I hope that Ms. May satisfied you in her answers. If we were not able to answer your questions due to
Si
time
Charlie,
limitations,
hindi talaga nila ako nakikita.
you may still, Ms. May, you may still send them to our official email address at the pwfoodtrends2021 at gmail.com. And we will try to answer them all. And we really value your feedbacks for us to keep us improving for our future webinars. Please be advised that the link of the evaluation form will be pinned in the chat box in the comment section 20 minutes before the end of our session. Only the registered participants will be eligible to receive an e-certificate upon the completion of the evaluation form after this session. The cutoff time for the submission is only 5:30 p.m.
Nawawala. Tapos yung mic ko nawawala din. Kaloko.
Miss Me. The
So sorry
participant,
about that.
sorry, I think we have the intermittent connection right now, Nika, right?
Yes.
Yes. And also know that the participants of the AM and PM session will be given a separate certificate. And also, Nika, you know that the upcoming 60th PAF convention will be on November 24 and 25, 2021. For more information, please visit the PAFP FB page or reach out through email address pafpannualconvention@gmail.com. Now, Nika, an exciting announcement for you.
That's right, Zhao. So now we have to announce the two lucky winners of 100 worth of load. So we will repeat our question a while ago. Is eating non-organic produce can expose you to? The choices are letter A, potentially harmful pesticide levels, letter B, safe levels of pesticides, and letter C, no proven health problem. The correct answer to that question is letter A, potentially
Ang
harmful
naman ako.
pesticide level. So we have selected our winners from those who have correctly answered the poll question before the talk of Miss May a while ago. And of course, here it is. Our first winner is Miss Trisha Ann Marie V. Bata and Mr. Jeremy Jean D. Alfonso. Congratulations again to Trisha Ann Marie V. Bata and Jeremy Jean D. Alfonso. Congratulations, and you will receive a text message or an email from pwufoodtrends2021 at gmail.com on how to receive or claim your prizes.
Congrats, winners. So before our second speaker discusses her topic, we want to see the participation of our dear attendees by answering a quick poll question. It is suitable only for the participants here in the Philippines. We'll be flashing the question and kindly scan the QR code shown on your screen or click the link in the video description or comment section for the participants using Facebook and YouTube channel. And the two lucky winners who get the right answer will receive 100 pesos worth of load. Now here's Nika for the second question.
Okay, this is our second poll question. What is the good animal source of omega-3 and fatty acid? These are the choices to choose from. Letter A, salmon. Letter B, tuyo. Letter C, shrimp. You can now take a pick and you have a minute to key in your answers. Enter your email, name, contact number, and your answer to the question provided. I repeat the choices. Letter A, salmon. Letter B, tuyo. And letter C, shrimp.
So Nika,
So,
the PW Food Technology offers three courses. So the Bachelor of Science in Food Technology, major in Baking Technology. So we also have Masters of Food Science and also Master of Food Safety Management.
that's right, Jel. So, you have 15 seconds left, participants, to answer the poll question number 2. Good luck. Okay. And time's up, participants. Thank you for answering our second poll question. Zhao?
Well, Nika, we have now total of 226 Facebook viewers, while in our YouTube channel, we have now 154 viewers. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We've got two more interesting topics for all of you. So now we'll be moving to our next presenter. So our next presenter, she earned her bachelor's degree in food technology from the Central Luzon State University. Currently, she is working as a laboratory technician under the Agriculture and Food Technology Business Incubator at the Central Luzon State University. Please be reminded that if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the chat box. Please welcome Ms. Allegra M. Robles.
Thank you so much and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Sir Zhao and Ma'am Anne, for that very interesting introduction. And I'm very honored to discuss to you about functional food. So I believe that this is a timely topic so we can choose the food that we eat, especially because of the pandemic that we are experiencing right now. So, functional food is not only better for us, but the best option or best choice for everyone. So, we just need to choose the right food depending on our needs. Okay, so let's get started. But before we start, I just need to provide you my disclosure. So, I declare that I do not have any financial commercial conflict of interest to any of the products that may appear in my presentation. The illustration of products are used to provide examples and do not represent any endorsement of support to their company nor their products. So let us continue and define first what is functional food. So, according to Meat Sciences, Encyclopedia of Meat Sciences, functional food are food or processed foods having disease preventing and or health promoting benefits in addition to their nutritive value. So another definition of functional food are they are whole, fortified, and rich or enhanced and can be consumed as part of a varied diet on a regular basis at effective levels for the consumer to gain potential health benefits. So, hindi po pwede na kakain ako ng prutas, tapos bukas wala na akong risk na magkasakit sa puso. Hindi po ganun yun. So, we need to eat them in a regular basis. Pero lahat po ng sobra ay hindi maganda. So, dapat under moderation lang. And the term functional food was originated in Japan noong 1980 and it is the first country to create regulatory approval process for functional food. So sa Japan po, nagkaroon ng mga regulations about sa mga pagkain functional food. So according naman po sa Journal of Nutrition, wala daw po ang functional food has no universally accepted definition. So again, functional food ano nag-originate po sa Japan, and they developed these foods because they noticed nung 1980 that the expenses in their healthcare costs is escalating or tumataas ang medical expenses nila. So the Ministry of Health Welfare po nila was assigned to approve foods with additional health benefits to improve their aging population's health. So, foods for specified health use or FUSHU, na-create po ito noon. So, noong July 2002 rin, nearly 300 food products are recognized or granted by FUSHU. So, the logo that you can see here is the proof that the product is considered functional food. And the counterpart of the Philippine products may be considered siguro yung ating Sangkap Pinoy Seal. So yung first project po ng KUSU, the Ministry of Education, Science and Culture, they were able to extract finding of orisastatin as a tangible example of functional food components. Ito yung first cystatin or proteinaceous cysteine proteinase inhibitor na nakukuha po sa plants. And may effect kasi siya na defend the human body to herpes virus. So, the first functional food for the hypoallergenic rice grains approved by FUSHO noong 1993. So, we have here a table. So, meron pong na-establish ang Japan or ang Japanese government na 11 categories of health claims in food for specified health use or FUSHO products and their approved functional food components. So, kailangan pasok yung mga ipapa-approve nating functional foods dito sa categories na to. So, yung first po, modulation of gastrointestinal conditions or kailangan meron siyang controlling effect on the digestive system. So, some examples of these are oligosaccharides, lactic acid bacteria, dietary fiber, and other components of milk, combination of chemically defined components. So, ito po, ang mga examples nito sa katulad po ng lactic acid bacteria or Lactobacillus casei shirota, sa oligosaccharides naman po, lactosucreose, mga ganun po. So, yung number 2 naman, modulation of or controlling effect on serum cholesterol level. So, example po nito ay chitosan or soybean protein, yung T-catechin. So, number 3 po, kailangan may controlling effect siya for serum cholesterol at gastrointestinal conditions. So, kumbaga, combination. And then number 4, kailangan may effect din siya sa blood pressure or mineral absorption. And then we have here number 6, combination po ng mineral absorption and gastrointestinal condition. And then we also have promotion of bone health. Ang example po nito ay soybean isoflavones, milk basic protein protein, milk basic protein, tsaka calcium, ganun po. So number 9, it should have a controlling effect on blood sugar or a combination again. So controlling effect on serum triacylglycerol level and blood fat percentage or combination ng number 11, serum triacylglycerol and cholesterol levels and body fat percentage. So we have here some examples of products from Japan that has food for specified health use logo. And notice that you can see it on the packaging of the products. So we have here the 5 mini, siguro ready to drink juice po ito na merong konting fiber. So pina-approve nila for FUSHO, that's why they have the logo. And then dito po sa baba, this is actually rice milk. And then yung green na ito na siguro ito pa yung counterpart ng barley. So let us check out what the father of medicine Hippocrates have said. So it's telling that let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. So nung unang panahon po kasi pag sinasabi mong masakit ang batok mo, so siguro tumataas ang blood pressure mo, pakikendihin ka noon ng bawang kasi pampababa daw ng blood pressure ang bawang. So, ganun po. nung 2,500 years ago, this was embraced as food as medicine. Pero nung 1900s po, yung modern drug therapy at saka diet in the disease prevention and promotion become popular. So nagkaroon na o pumasok na po ang medicine para siguro mas mabilis din ang paggaling natin. Okay, so I have here again another table. The table categorizes a variety of functional foods according to the type of evidence supporting their functionality. So hindi po pwedeng tumingala lang tayo sa taas, gusto ko ito functional food, hindi po ganon. So dumaan po siya sa mga clinical trials para ma-claim nila na ito ay good for the body or health promoting, something like that. So the claims about the health benefits of functional food should be based on sound scientific evidence or called emerging evidence, and it's also good basis for marketing some functional food component. So these are some samples of functional food with evidence of clinical studies or experiments. So we have here fortified margarines, or ang bioactive component po niya ay sterol and stanol, and it can reduce total bad cholesterol or LDL or low density lipoprotein. So a lot of clinical trials has been conducted and it has a very strong evidence. And then next is the psyllium fiber or the soluble fiber. Yun po ang kanyang component. Again, it can reduce bad cholesterol. Then we have soy, which is ang bioactive component niya, protein or isoflavones. And then we have whole oat products. Beta-glucan naman po siya. And then we have your cranberry juice. So ang bioactive component niyo po ay proanthocyanidin. So it can reduce urinary tract infection. It has some number of clinical trials and it has moderate strength of evidence. So we have here fatty fish, or the fatty acid that was bioactive component for this is actually the omega-3. So it can reduce heart disease, cardiac deaths, and non-fatal myocardial infarction. So there are a lot of clinical trials and epidemiologically studies. So yung strength of evidence po niya is strong. And then we have garlic, organosulfur compounds naman siya, green tea, catechins, so spinach, kale, collard, and greens. Usually naman po pag green leafy vegetables, meron talaga siya. Ano po? So we have here, ang sample niya ay kale and collard greens. So ang counterpart po sa atin siguro sa Pilipinas nito, yung mga pechay natin, yung mga mustasa natin. So just to continue, so we have here tomatoes. So yung meron po siyang lycopene as a bioactive component. And then we have po mga karne, mga lamb, turkey, beef, dairy products, meron siyang CLA. Cruciferous vegetables, meron siyang glucosinolates or inols. It reduces the risk of certain cancer. So, ang cruciferous po, these are collective terms, yung vegetables katulad ng cauliflower, Brussels, yung repolyo, tsaka po yung ano na to, yung kulay green. Basta yun po. Tapos meron po tayong fermented dairy products. Kaya ano naman po niya is probiotics, of course, for GI or gastrointestinal health po natin. And also, it is known to boost immunity. Okay, so let's just further discuss the functional foods coming from the animal source. So these are fish or omega-3 or the fatty acid. It is the most investigated class of active component derived from animal. So meron siyang mga polyunsaturated fatty acids. So ang two primary fatty acids dito ay ang EPA at DHA. So kung paano po nyo dati yung mga commercials na gatas na fortified with DHA. So siguro ito na po yun. Ano po? So sources ng omega-3 are the fatty fish like salmon, tuna, mackerel, sardines, and herring. So meron pong different benefits ang pag-inom o pagkain ng isda. of fatty fish. So these are essential component of phospholipids in the cellular uh, membrane in brain and retina of the eye. Of course, for the essential or development of brain and retina of infants, para sa cardiovascular disease po, good for the heart, and also some cancer. So it was mentioned from a journal from Hassler that Eskimos had low rates of cardiovascular disease despite the high consumption of fatty foods. So according to Hassler, the consumption of 35 milligrams of fish daily can reduce the risk of sudden myocardial infarction, according to the Chicago Western Electric study. So in a different journal, meron naman po silang sinasabi na 2 serving of fatty fish per week. So consumption of omega-3 fatty acids may reduce the coronary heart risk, disease risk. So we have here another animal source for functional food. So, probiotics. So, probiotics is a biological active animal component or tinatawag natin na live microorganisms that is beneficial to human health. So, ang mga benefits po niya, it can reduce cancer, usually colon cancer, intestinal tract function, immune function, allergy, urogenital health, or cholesterol, meron din po siyang cholesterol lowering. It was discovered by tribesmen in Africa and also nakaka-apekto po sa hypertension. And good sources po nito ay mga lactic acid bacteria or lactobacillus strains like Lactobacillus acidophilus, Lactobacillus johnsoni, Lactobacillus casei, shirota. So the picture that you can see here indicates that there are a lot of probiotic drinks that is available in the market all over the world. So unlike before, the only thing or the only probiotic drink that I know are Yakult and yogurt. So marami naman na po pala tayong probiotic drink. So we have here just a samples of products with probiotic organisms. Usually these are the products that undergo fermentation. So like the famous kimchi from Korea. Of course, we have Yakult here, we have kefir, kahit po yung apple cider vinegar. Kaya noon nauso yan. Meron din po pala siyang probiotics yan. So when we talk about probiotics, there are a lot of terms that we encounter like this, prebiotics and symbiotics. So ano ba ang prebiotics? So prebiotics is a non-digestible food ingredient that beneficially affecting the host by supporting growth and viability of beneficial bacteria in the colon, thus improves the health of the host. So actually, ito lang po ang pagkain ng bacteria. Pagkain ng probiotic bacteria mo. So pag pinagsama niyo po ang probiotic o yung bacteria at saka yung pagkain ng bacteria na prebiotic, ang magiging term na po doon ay symbiotic. So symbiotic, it's a mixture of probiotic and prebiotic that beneficially affect the host. So it also improves the survival of live microorganisms. So example for this is yung short chain carbohydrates, fructooligosaccharides, tsaka po yung inulin. So I have here a diagram from Springer Link from Google. It is a good diagram to fully understand functional foods. So they were naturally occurring functional foods coming from animal source, and then we have the plant source. And then we have here on the left side, these are functional foods which came from either animal or plant source. So industrially extracted na po siya. So, prepared, what I mean. So, andito yung ating symbiotics, and then we have here the nutraceuticals. So, ito pong nutraceuticals, katulad po ng omega-3 na fatty acid ng fish, i-extract po yan sa laboratory. Tapos, ilalagay po siya sa soft gels or mga capsules na ready to drink na siya. Okay? So we have here another diagram from Microbe, online from Google again. The diagram differentiate what is prebiotic, probiotic, and symbiotic. So just a review. Prebiotic, food for bacteria. probiotic your bacteria pag pinagsama symbiotic na po siya. So we have here animal source again, conjugated linoleic acid or CLA. It is anti-carcinogenic fatty acid and identified as anti-mutagenic agent in beef. It consists of two isomers, sa cis9 at trans11. So yung sources po niya from dairy products and ruminant animals like beef and lamb or chicken, pork, and salmon. So inhibit mammary carcinogenesis, yan po ang isang benefits niya, increase bone density, and if you consume 1 gram of CLA per person per day, the CLA, it modulates the tumor development. And then that's why po may mushroom tayo tsaka soya oil. So, this is a good source also of linoleic coming from plants. And you can get it from mushroom and soybean oil. So, we have citrus fruits. Ito naman po yung mga functional food from plant source na tayo. So, known as a protective against variety of human cancer. So, examples of these are oranges, lemons, limes, and grapefruits. So, a good source for vitamin C, folate, and fiber. And of course, it has an anti-cancer activity because of that. And it is high in phytochemicals known as limonoids. So, ano po yung limonoids? One of the most health-benefiting bioactive component po ng citrus fruits. It inhibits the proliferation of cancer of stomach, colon, breast, skin, and pancreas. So, ang limonene naman po has the cancer preventive effect and anti-anxiety effect. Ito po yung pag nagbubukas tayo ng dalanghita or oranges, ito po yung naaamoy natin, yung po yung limonene na tinatawag. So, meron siyang, di po ba pag naaamoy natin, parang, ay, ang bango, nakakaginhawa. So, we have here the cranberries, another functional food from plant source. So, we mentioned this before. It's known to treat the urinary tract infection since 1920s. So, there are a lot of clinical trials that was done with 153 elderly women. Sa Japan din po ito ginawa. And confirmed that they contain condensed tannins or the tannins called proanthocyanidins. So this suggests anti-adhesion properties to the epithelial cell lining of the urinary tract infection. So most recent research has confirmed that condensed tannins in cranberries are biologically active component and they prevent E. coli from adhering to the epithelial cells lining in the urinary tract. So preliminary research suggests that anti-adhesion properties of cranberry may provide health benefits including oral cavity. So hindi na lang po sa urinary tract nagkakaroon ng anti-adhesion o para hindi kumapit yung mga bakterya, pwede na rin po sa bibig natin or oral cavity. So another functional food po, ito yung manggagaling sa soya. So soya or soy, preventive and therapeutic roles in cardiovascular disease, cancer, osteoporosis, alleviation of menopausal symptoms, lower down cholesterol. So yung one of the bioactive ingredients ng soy or soya is isoflavones. It is found in soy products and effective also in lowering the cholesterol and can promote bone health. Okay, so we have here, hold on, nag-aano po tayo. Let's proceed. We have here the garlic. So garlic po, it's used 1,000 years for medicinal purposes. So ang kanyang bioactive ingredient is organosulfur. So may component siyang allicin, allylic sulfide. So very known po ang benefits niya, lower down blood pressure. There's a lot of clinical studies for it. Increase in the consumption of bawang or garlic can lower the risk of certain type of cancer, particularly the stomach. Inhibit also activity of Helicobacter pylori. So Helicobacter pylori po ay sa bacteria that causes ulcer. It reduces blood cholesterol. So best documented with a clinical effect. And also we have nuts. So nuts, low in saturated fat and cholesterol. And if you heard the topic this morning about happy foods, actually nuts is one of them. So hindi lang pampahappy ang nuts, but also it has other benefits like cardiovascular benefits, lower down the total LDL or the bad cholesterol, lower the risk of coronary heart disease. So you will see here also on the picture I have here, the bad cholesterol actually is usually po na ano siya sa mga arteries, sa mga veins natin. And ang pinaka-ingat-ingatan po natin ay magkaroon tayo ng narrow blood vessels, lalo na po sa ating mga puso. Yan po talagang iniiwasan natin. Also, we have here functional food that's coming from plant source is grapes. So in 1970s, it was observed by researchers that the residents from Japan who were avid drinkers of red wine has less heart disease despite of a high consumption of fat in their diet. So this was known as the French paradox. So researchers confirmed the presence of high concentration of antioxidant polyphenols. So benefits nito, antioxidant polyphenols lower down the risk of heart disease and it reduces the platelet aggregation. So, paano pag hindi po tayo umiinom ng alak? So, okay lang yan. So, the high concentration of antioxidant polyphenols niya actually ay nakukuha po sa red grapes, sa skin nila. So, it must be noted that moderate consumption of any alcoholic drink like beer, wine, or distilled spirits has been shown number of studies to reduce the risk of heart disease. For those who wanted to remove alcohol, grape juice has also beneficial effects similar to those of the red wine. The rich phenolic antioxidant compound can also be enjoyed sa grape juice. Hindi lang po siya sa wine. So we have here chocolate. So chocolate, it's a source of polyphenolics for heart health again. It contains flavonoids, procyanidins. It can reduce oxidative stress on the bad cholesterol or LDL. And also, um, the fat content, sugar content, caffeine texture, and aroma may be responsible for the mood-enhancing effect of um, of chocolate. So there is a study that focused on the effect of chocolate on depression from archives of internal medicine. So people who are clinically depressed tend to eat more chocolate. So chocolate is cheaper than a therapy and you don't need a doctor's appointment for it. So with all the good effects of chocolate po sa body natin, di pag merong nagbigay po sa atin ng chocolate, hindi po ba, hindi pa natin naaamoy? Hindi pa rin natin siya nabubuksan o nakakain, sumasaya na tayo, di ba? So bakit po? Kasi we know that someone cares. O di ba, ang galing ng powers po ng chocolate. Okay, so other components of chocolate is antioxidant flavonol compounds, which is called catechin. So again, it reduces the free radicals, lower the cholesterol level, reduce blood pressure, reduce platelet aggregation. So a serving of 44 grams of milk chocolate provide 8% of RDA and dark chocolate naman po 15% of RDA for magnesium. So the fat and sugar content increases the calories associated with chocolate consumption, and thus addition of milk may concern to some patients with lactose intolerance. So the addition also of nuts to chocolates can also trigger people with some allergies. So again, yung chocolate itself po, marami siyang benefits. Kaya lang yung mga additives na niya, yung mga flavorings na niya, medyo cautious po tayo. Lalo na pag may lactose intolerance, so hindi masyadong okay ang milk chocolate. Yung mga nuts, kung may mga allergies sa nuts, ganun po siya. So we have here another plant source for functional food. It's catechin or the tea. It has a catechin as a bioactive ingredient for that. So the effect of green or black tea consumption on cancer risk had been focused on numerous studies. So green tea, marami siyang polyphenolic components, catechins. there are different types of catechin. So we have here epigallocatechin, epicatechin, marami po siya. Pero yung 240 ml or 250 ml of brewed green tea contain up to 200 milligram po ng catechin. Okay, so we have here, last but not the least, is tomatoes. Tomato and tomato products, so investigated for their role in cancer chemoprevention. So source of antioxidant like lycopene and non-provitamin carotenoid. It can lower down the risk of prostate, lung, stomach, pancreas, colon, rectum, esophagus, oral cavity, breast, and cervix. So let us ponder what Aristotle had said. Health is a matter of choice, not a mystery of chance. So nasa ating mga kamay ang ating kalusugan. Let us choose to be healthy and happy by choosing the right food for us. Okay? So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.
Thank you, Miss Ria, for that very interesting discussion about functional foods. I didn't know that limonoids from citrus fruits, just like my favorite lemon, has anti-anxiety effect. No wonder why it helps me on my rough days. How about you, Jao? What are the functional foods that you have included in your diet?
Surprisingly, Mika didn't know that chocolates do not only boost your mood. Sabi nga ni Miss Ria, hindi pa nabubusan yung chocolate, pero masaya ka na. Kasi nabubus agad yung mood mo. Just like what discussed by Miss Anna in the AM session, but it's also beneficial for our health.
That also surprised me. I'm sure that our participants want to know more about how better these functional foods are for their health. So let's proceed with the question and answer portion. Please type your questions into the chat box and Miss Ria will try to answer them all. So Jao, do we have our first question?
Yes, Mika. From Mr. Joel Villaruel, is there any disadvantages of functional food? So I repeat, Miss Ria, is there any disadvantages of a functional food?
Yes, thank you so much, Sir Jao and Ma'am Nika. Yes, there is disadvantages of functional food. Just like what I mentioned a while ago, lahat ng sobra hindi maganda, kahit hindi naman siya functional food. So, the example that was given a while ago is yung chocolate natin. So, kung medyo diabetic ka, parang kumbaga nakatatak sa mind mo na, functional food to, this is good for yada-yada kung ano-ano. But you need to be cautious about yung milk niya na naka-add, sugar na naka-add. So pag ganun po, kailangan, especially pag meron tayong lactose intolerance, so medyo maghinay-hinay po tayo. So matatabunan yung magandang benefit ng chocolate, matatabunan yung hindi maganda niyang magiging effect sa'yo, lalo na pag mataas yung sugar niya tapos diabetic ka. Another example, yung wine natin. So, bakit usually fini-feature yung red wine na mas maganda sa health? Actually, kung mamimili ka, kung kunyari alcohol drinker talaga tayo, mamimili ka kung anong iinumin mo, kung yung beer ba o yung wine, yung fruit wine. So, of course, mas pipiliin natin yung fruit wine. Kaya lang, do not abuse yung ano natin na, ay, iinom ako ng marami nito kasi this is good for the heart. No, kailangan po lahat under moderation. So that's the only, one of the disadvantage that we have for functional food.
That's a very good explanation, Miss Ria, because lahat nga po ng sobra, hindi na rin talaga nakakabuti. So right now, we have received another question for Miss Ria. This is the question, Miss Ria. What are the differences between functional food, food supplements, and nutraceuticals? So I repeat, what are the differences between functional foods, food supplement, and nutraceuticals?
Okay. When you say functional food saka nutraceuticals, food supplement, actually interchangeable sila. So technically, ang functional foods nga is meron siyang health promoting at saka na naaano niya yung mga ibang diseases. It prevents some diseases. But technically, if we're going to check kung anong nutraceuticals, dalawang ano siya dalawang word. Nutraceutical is a combination of nutrition as well as pharmaceutical. So just like a good example ko kanina, yung fish, 'di ba, kakain tayo ng matatabang isda para sa omega 3 niya because that's good for the heart, yung mga linings or mga membranes ng mga heart natin. Kaya lang, okay, so meron yung ibang tao, hindi sila nakakakain ng isda or less siguro sabihin na natin every other day or hindi nila nakukonsume yung 35 milligrams na requirement for you to have improved heart condition. So ang ginagawa kasi natin, yung omega 3 ng ating fish, i-extract yan gamit yung mga kung ano-anong extraction and then ilalagay siya sa mga capsules, sa mga soft gels, mga powder, mga syrup. When you say nutraceuticals, ito yung mga ang ano na niya is parang gamot na siya na iinumin. Unlike sa functional food, ito yung whole na food, nakakainin mo, ngunguyain mo. So yung mga medicines or yung mga itsura ng parang medicines, yun yung mga nutraceutical. Yun po yun.
Indeed, Miss Rhea, very great answer for that question. And then thank you also for the participants who have sent their questions in the comment box. I hope that Miss Rhea's answers satisfied your expectations. If we're not able to answer your questions due to time limitation, you may still send them to our official email address at pwfoodtrends2021@gmail.com. And we will try to answer them all.
That's right, Zhao. So we have come to our second set of giveaway. So the question a while ago, what is the good animal source of omega-3 and fatty acid? The choices are letter A, salmon, letter B, tuyo, and letter C, shrimp. So we have selected two winners again from those who have correctly answered the poll question. And these two winners will win 100 pesos worth of load. Okay. So the correct answer is letter A again, salmon, as I have mentioned. So our two winners are Cristel Marie Donasco and Marian Abella. So congratulations again to Miss Cristel Marie Donasco and Miss Marian Abella. So to you guys, you will receive a text message or an email from pwufoodtrends2021@gmail.com and how to receive or to claim your prizes.
Congrats, winners! Now we're up to our last poll question. Is suitable only the participants here in the Philippines. We'll be flashing the question and kindly scan the QR code shown in your screen or click the link in the video description. And you may also use the comment section for the participants using Facebook and YouTube channel. The two lucky winners who will get the right answer will receive 100 pesos worth of loan. And the question is, which is more important, food safety or food quality? These are the choices to choose from. Letter A, food safety. Letter B, food quality. Letter C, both. I repeat the question, which is more important, food safety or food quality? These are the choices to choose from. A, food safety. B, food quality. C, both. You can now take a peek and you have a minute to key in your answers. Enter your email, name, contact number, and your answer to the question provided. So while waiting for the answers, the upcoming 60th KFT convention will be November 24, 25, 2021 via Zoom with the theme, a celebration of resilient KFT, the decades of the milestone and transformation. Happy 60th KFT! And for more information, Nika, please visit them to the PAF FB page, or you may reach out through email address to KFT Annual Convention at gmail.com. We have 30 minutes left.
30 seconds left.
Seconds. Okay, 15. Okay, time's up. That will be the last poll for today's webinar. Thank you, dear participants, for answering the poll question.
Okay, so right now, Ja, we have a total of Facebook attendees, 203 attendees on our Facebook channel, and we have YouTube of 153. So thank you so much to our dear attendees for tuning in. And now we're up to our last presenter for this afternoon. Let me present to you our last presenter for this afternoon. She earned her bachelor's degree in food technology, major in baking technology from the Philippine Women's University. Currently, she is working as a regulatory affairs scientist at Universal Robina Corporation. Please be reminded again that if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat box. Now, I'll give the floor to our last speaker, Miss Vanessa Maica Arboisilio.
Thank you, Nika, for the introduction, and thank you for staying with us on this webinar series. I hope you've learned from our previous speakers as much as I do. At this time, I'm excited to share with you another topic for this webinar. So, food safety and research, a crossover. Okay, so the agenda of my presentation is to have a better understanding on the importance of food safety and food quality. Second is to discuss the key stages of product development that might have an impact on food safety and the role of R&D in traceability in the food chain. Food safety versus food quality. So according to FAO, food safety and food quality can sometimes be confusing. But food safety, it refers to the assurance that the food will not cause harm to our consumers. And the specific concern about food hazards have usually focused on microbiological hazards, pesticide residues, misuse of food additives, and chemical contaminants, including biological toxins and adulteration. While food quality is the characteristics of food which is acceptable to consumers. Because quality, it refers to the features and characteristics of a food product that might be acceptable or that is acceptable to consumers and meet their expectations. On the next slide, I'd like you to think about this statement. Okay, it says safety is a component of quality. Okay, safety is a component of quality. You got that? So do you agree with this statement? I truly agree that food safety is the number one component of a food quality product. Okay? Expert says that safety is the most important factor or component of quality, as lack of safety can lead us to a serious consequences like the serious injury or even death of a person. So FAO has been working with Department of Agriculture to improve the policy environment for food and nutrition security. This includes including for food safety and early detection of threats to food and agriculture. And WHO has also been working with the Department of Health on developing a food safety action plan, strengthening the risk-based inspection of food establishments, upgrading the implementing rules and regulation of the food safety. So you see that we have a continuous support globally to strengthen the food safety in our country. But the question is, who is responsible for food safety? Sino nga ba? Sino ba responsible? Right? So, it is everyone's business. So whether you produce, process, sell, or prepare the food, you have a role in keeping it safe. So everybody along the food chain is responsible for food safety because food safety is regularly taken for granted. because it is often invisible and we get food poisoning. And food safety, it's not just the duty of quality control, it is everyone's business. Okay? So this includes the members of product development or the R&D team at the earliest stage of development. Now, R&D or product development is a systematic step-by-step process for innovating foods and processes that meets consumer demand. Since research and development or R&D, this is a crucial step in developing or improving new and innovative food products, processes, or packaging. And remember that the food industry does not make trends, rather, it reacts to global events and customer demands by developing innovative technologies and foods that address issues and satisfy consumer wants. According to Camila Gadotti, she is a field technical service professional with 3M Food Safety. Okay? So she said, and I quote, okay, incorporating food safety into R&D can be tricky, as safety considerations may change the initial idea or concept of a new product. So she shared, like for example, idea of a fresh squeezed orange juice in every supermarket. Shelf life is appealing. However, without pasteurization, that juice will not be safe for consumption, nor will it have the desired shelf life. Okay? And pasteurized orange juice will give you the natural color of the orange and the content of the vitamins. But when unpasteurized, do you think the orange juice will be safe for to consume? Okay, no. Because in unpasteurized orange juice, there will be a harmful pathogens and microorganisms that may be present. Okay? And inactivation of pathogens in orange juice should be subjected to different processing treatments. Okay? But what will the effect? What will be the effect after processing? Okay, one is the color of the orange juice. For example, the colors plays as an essential role in food appearance and acceptability. Second is the vitamin content of the orange juice. Once heated, vitamins may not be present anymore because vitamins are not stable to heat. Therefore, R&D will have to adjust the color by adding food colors that will be acceptable to consumer if you want to add. And second, an addition of vitamins for the desired percentage. So food safety should be examined during the early stages of a product's development to ensure that it is safe for consumption, and this will help the developers and the company. So what are the steps for product development? Okay, so here are 7 steps that we might want to look and consider food safety during product development. And 4 out of these 7 stages will have the direct impact in food safety aspects of the process. Okay, so first, let's talk about the idea generation. Okay, so idea generation, this is where the ideas from a research on what is trending in the market or by gathering the problem encountered in the market. So it is to review the changing needs, requirements, and trends that are loved by all and review potential customers. Okay? In this step, we review consumer data and we do the research online. And the first method is brainstorming. The team has a huge number of ideas that can be developed into a powerful concepts and eventually profitable products. So this might be based on suggestions from company employees or coworkers. Okay, in Food Safety System Certification or FSSC 22000, so this is an international certification based on a combination of ISO 22000 2018. In FSSC version 5.1, it states that at this early stage, possible hazard should be considered in raw materials that will be used. So we consider by assessing the biological, chemical, and physical hazard on the allergen of new product so that we can foresee ahead of time if these products are ideal or not. Next is the idea screening. So in this step, it often involves the use of scoring models, checklists, or personal judgments, and is based on information from experience and market research. After gathering all of the ideas, we must evaluate which of the concepts on the list are most acceptable and feasible among all prototypes. So as part of the screening process, we must identify all constraints and limitations by identifying raw material sources or whether suppliers can meet the demand or determining supplier capabilities, as well as financial issues of raw material price, food packaging, labor costs, storage and facility, and transportation. So R&D and the team will also examine the availability of equipment, personal capability, and regulatory compliance until the team can decide which product concept or prototype are the ideal to pursue. Or other way of screening the ideas is by asking these questions. So who will use the product? How will it be used? So what preparation is necessary? How will the consumer benefit from it? Does it have any other uses with the competition? How is the product differentiated from competitors? Where will be the product be available? And how will people find out about the product? And what will the price be? So if the answers are attainable and compliant, the requirements proceed into the next steps. So which is your market research. So this is being done after the team have chosen or finalized the ideas and have learned about the consumer's interests. So aside from that, the team will have views about the market's direction. So market research is essential for evaluating the market demand and ensuring that the finished products fulfills the need of consumers throughout the product development process. So we can also conduct the research by price analysis. So in these steps, it gives the key to understanding how markets operate. It demonstrates that the recommended price is reasonable when compared to current or recent market prices or the same or similar products. And then we do a marketing plan. So if the product develops in accordance with the planning, it will be determined by identifying the objectives, issues, and the budget. So it outlines how it will generate leads and reach its target market through advertising. Because not everyone will buy your product. So you should concentrate on those who are most likely to do so. And then you do a SWOT analysis. In this analysis, you'll be able to address what's lacking, what's needed to improve, reduce risk, and maximize company chances of success. And another research method is to assess the strengths and weaknesses of different marketing techniques within an industry by comparing competitor strategies. So it aids a company in determining the possible marketing price and distribution benefits and the barriers. Okay, so during product development, the R&D will start thinking of product specifications. R&D will be thinking of ingredients, packaging design, the production time, and this is also the step to consider the functional characteristics of the product, specifications, including organoleptic properties, product consistency, and product acidity, food safety, and technical data. So during new product development, when you think of your resources, you think of your suppliers, and food allergens are one of the things you should consider during development. Food allergies are increasingly considered a public health concern. And ISO 22000 2018 defines allergens a food safety hazard. According to it, businesses must control food safety problems, such as allergies, in order to ensure that the food they produce is safe for consumers. Of common allergenic foods, each country may have its own standard for allergen labeling. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so for example, in the EU country, okay, in their legislation, 14 food allergens need to be declared when they are used in the packaged foods. In the United States of America, regulation require food manufacturer to list the 8 most common ingredient that trigger food allergies. In the Philippines, the regulation is on AO 2014-0030, and flash on your screen are the following allergens that needs to be declared. So reviewing the allergens is a food safety concern. Let's say, for example, previously you are not using any raw materials that has allergens. But now with a new product, one of the ingredient has an allergen present from your supplier. And then you'll have to run it in the production. And this means you must change all of your product labels because you need to state on the label that your product contains allergen traces. Okay, so you see, you'll have to take into considerations because you might lose a lot of money and you might or you can kill someone when not declaring it. Okay, formulation is an important step in the development of any product. However, it is a complicated process, and R&D face numerous challenges when developing a recipe. They must consider various requirements from various teams, including marketing, quality, and regulatory authorities. In China, a result of careless use of non-edible compounds have grown increasingly prominent because of the misuse or overuse of food additives. According to studies, there were 253,617 food safety incidents reported in China between 2006 and 2015, and this accounts for 75.5% of the total. Furthermore, the illegal use of food additives was responsible for the largest number of food safety incidents, accounting for 34.36% of the total. Indeed, according to the most recent information released by China's State Food and Drug Administration, out of 257,000 batches of food samples collected nationwide, there were 8,224 batches of substandard food, and 33.6% of which was caused by food producers and manufacturers misusing or overusing food additives. According to Julie Simmer, she is an author from SASE, it says food additives most likely to be affecting children. Okay? Food additives can cause digestive disorder, nervous disorders, respiratory problems, and skin problems. Studies have shown that children can affect neurological development and the endocrine system, which regulates hormones. So, the food additives most likely to be affecting children's behavior are tartrazine, propionate, artificial colors, and benzoate. So we have Codex as our international standard in food additives, and Bureau Circular 2006-0016 issued by DOH as our guide and reference for food additives level that during the development, product should be compliant. Okay, so the primary objective of this legislation is to ensure food safety and protect the consumers with the maximum quantity of food additive and will not exceed its acceptable daily intake. Okay, so after after developing the ingredients and specifications, the next step is to proceed with the feasibility study. Okay, in the feasibility study step, okay, this is to determine if the new product will be profitable or the production is technically possible. So it includes a evaluation with the whole business. Okay, it is to determine the strengths and weaknesses of a proposed project or an existing business. It can help to identify and assess the opportunities and threats present. Or we can ask these questions to assess: does the company have the necessary resources and technology? Or will the firm or the company be able to get a good return on its investment? The next step is to develop, okay, the product prototype. So these procedures involve assessing and implementing any essential adjustment for the product's production. For example, so this is a process flow of a strawberry jam. So the process flow is a critical for understanding where potential hazards of food safety concern may arise. Okay, so in the process flow, okay, can you show the process flow? Okay, so uh, in the process flow creation, R&D are able to identify food hazards. So this is the step to analyze potential hazards that could be present during processing. Identification of hazard is the first step in risk management. So after identification of food hazards, critical control point is the next step at which control can be applied. This is very essential to prevent or eliminate a food safety hazard or reduce it to an acceptable level. Or CCPs are identified only after the completion of the hazard analysis. Part of the CCP is the time and temperature control. Controlling the temperature is one of the most important aspects of controlling the pathogens in food. Bacteria and other disease causing microorganisms grow slowly at a low temperature and reproduce quickly at mid-range temperature and die at high temperature. And of course, don't forget your food packaging. R&D is to study on the quality and how to protect the food against external microbes and bacteria. So part of the development is your packaging because the food is exposed to shipping, material handling, and storage. Food safety might be compromised if food packaging integrity is not properly maintained and tested. And external elements, contamination, heat, physical damage, and other factors are all protected by packaging. So as a result, effective packaging ensures the safety of your food products. So it is also the communication to consumers. Okay, food product claims on the labeling must be aligned to legislation. So we have AO 2014-0030 and guidelines for use of nutrition and health claims. It should not be misleading and confusing, and product claims shall be truthful to your consumers. Then the last step would be uh, product testing prototype. So under the product testing prototype, product analysis is being done where physicochemical analysis and microbiological analysis, sensory evaluation is conducted. So food's physicochemical characteristics are mainly responsible for characteristic is very critical for food processing design and quality control. And part of the step of the product testing prototype is conducting the product analysis. Okay, so for example, consider the pH level of your product, moisture content, total bricks, and water activity. These parameters plays a role in microbial growth, where R&D is responsible to check, analyze, and standardize the product where growth of microorganism will be controlled and prevented once turned over to the production. And then, microbiological analysis. R&D is to determine what possible microorganisms are susceptible to grow in your product. And R&D is to conduct testing and setting of acceptable standards of the minimum and maximum growth of microorganism. FDA Circular 2013 0030 revised guidelines for the assessment of microbiological quality of processed foods and Codex standards refers to the microorganism reference criteria for different food categories. In the food business, sensory testing is very important for guaranteeing product quality. This may provide a useful insight at every level of the product development and production process, from identifying consumer preferences to testing for product quality. And then sensory analysis may be used for quality control, shelf life determination, measuring product launch readiness, evaluating product success, taste profiling, and finding the qualities that drive customer preferences. It may be utilized to make key decisions concerning raw materials, components, and additives, as well as storage and packing conditions. When a new product comes out of R&D, okay, a new product comes out of R&D, it must be subjected to shelf life testing. It may be tested on a regular basis to ensure accurate findings or when changes to the formulation, packaging, or any other variables affecting shelf life are made. Understanding a product's performance, whether it fulfills expectation, is the foundation for developing a customer base and guaranteeing the product's continuous satisfaction. Brand protection begins with properly labeled shelf life, which is typically a consumer demand. R&D is to determine handling and storage condition of the product, to determine the storage temperature appropriate for the product, or whether it is in ambient, freezing, or chilling temperature, as long as its safety and quality does not compromise. Other considerations are the stacking height of the product during storage. So study what is the best stacking height is appropriate per pallet without causing damage to the product and the packaging. Also, check into the requirements for delivering the finished product to a grocery store, a hotel, or a restaurant, or any other client that receives the final product. So the product must be kept safe until it reaches the consumer. Oh, and traceability. So traceability of newly developed product and its corresponding ingredient must be established prior to production turnover. So this includes the raw material from your suppliers, including food ingredients and packaging material. So raw material information must be available and should include its country of origin and declare allergen and product composition. R&D and the team is to check manufacturers, traders, and suppliers to be food safety compliant. So you may require GMP certifications or HACCP, ISO, and FSSC certifications to your suppliers. And the raw material should pass the required analysis step. So certificate of analysis should accompany the raw materials per delivery and lot number. And before using in the production, raw materials should be quality assurance approved based on raw material specifications from R&D and in-house evaluation or analysis conducted by the QA. Label should contain all the mandatory information and must be compliant to regulatory requirements set by the FDA. And labels play a vital role in product traceability. Okay, so flow of materials in every process steps must be recorded and documented. Manufacturing procedure and process flow where temperature and time are recorded for every process steps per batch. It must be specified to production and operations during turnover. Okay, proper documentation in every process step per batch or lot must be applied. In product specification, this includes physical, chemical, and sensory tests. Finished product specification includes physical tests, microbiological tests, product shelf life, chemical tests, organoleptic tests, storage condition, and transportation as discussed earlier. Food products before launching to the market must be registered and applied for a certificate of product registration. And as part of requirements, the following information relevant to traceability are submitted. In conclusion and recommendation, okay, food developers must have a thorough knowledge about food safety, quality, and storage requirements of ingredient and finished products. Take into considerations food safety programs in designing product and processes. Proper documentation during developing of products is necessary for future use as reference in traceability. And the R&D team and food safety team should work together to ensure quality and safety aspects to maintain throughout the process. Okay, that's it. So thank you very much for staying with us in our webinar session. So I'd like to give my acknowledgement to my co-authors, Mr. Amado B. Martinez Jr., Ms. Noela Villarilas, Ms. Maria Sotera Andy Pagatpat, and our dear professors, Ms. Maria Divina Alcaceres, Ms. Rosalinda R. Lodea, and our advisors, Dean Dr. Ligaya Braganza and Dean Emeritus Dr. Ignacio Pablo.
Thank you, Ms. Van, for that very interesting discussion. Food safety indeed is sometimes under-considered in the process of product development. Do you agree that, Nika?
Yes, Zhao, I totally agree with you. Van's discussion may be an eye-opener for some of our participants who have observed this in the industry.
So we're excited to hear from our participants who are from the R&D or the research and development, as well as from the food safety teams. Let us start our question and answer portion. You may now key in your questions at the comment box, and Ms. Van will try to answer them all.
Okay, Miss Van, are you ready for our first question?
Yes, I am ready, Nika and Zhao.
Okay, we have here from Miss Therese Packing from Quezon City. Her question is, in your opinion, which should be prioritized, food safety or food or product development?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Reese, for that question. So, in my opinion, we innovate or develop a product that is safe. Get that? We innovate a product or we develop a product that is safe. So it should go hand in hand. So that when we develop the product, we ensure that it is safe before we launch it on the market. So that is why we have steps on that we need to consider during product development.
Okay.
Thanks. Thanks, Miss Van.
So here's a question, Nika, from Miss Maya Bagan. Oh, hi, Maya. So Maya's question is, out of the 4 product development steps, What is the critical step that R&D should consider food safety? So I repeat, out of four product development steps, what is the critical step that R&D should consider food safety?
Hi, Maya. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Okay, so um, one of the critical steps when considering food safety is maybe developing, not maybe, it's the developing the product specification. So, um, developing the product specification of the product and developing the prototype, okay? Because this includes considering the data of the product. And then you'll have to consider parameters. You have to consider the data. You have to consider um, your finished product. And once launched in the market, what will happen? So there are studies, or you have to do further studies that you need to consider uh, to during product development and consider food safety.
Okay, thanks, Miss Van. So,
Okay. So I think we have another question for Miss Van.
mm,
Okay. So, question, Miss Van, how can we ensure safety of raw materials inside the R&D laboratory? Okay, and I repeat, how can we ensure safety of raw materials inside the R&D laboratory?
Okay, thank you for that question. So to ensure um, the safety of the raw materials, so you should consider uh, the storage condition if you are in the laboratory. So you have to know the specification of the product. What is the storage condition? So what is the temperature? So you also have to separate the raw materials from the um, chemical uh, content of the lab, 'di ba? So kailangan hindi siya close sa mga chemical na ginagamit natin sa lab. So you also have to consider storage condition and also review the technical specification, and you can coordinate with your suppliers, okay? So how to properly utilize tong mga raw materials niyo.
okay, indeed, Miss Van, in the laboratory setup, they also place their materials in a cold environment. Yung dapat aircon siya para at least yung mga hygroscopic materials hindi siya mag-dump. So here's your fourth question. Um, can you set an example? How can we sanitize or clean the or in the laboratory, like the fabricated equipment or any glasswares? So I repeat, can you cite an example? How can we sanitize or clean or the R&D laboratory, like the fabricated equipment and glasswares?
Okay, so um, you may let's go to the basics. So you have to do the washing of the equipment, okay? But and also you have to consider the level of the cleaning agent that you'll be using to avoid yung para masira yung mga equipments natin. So there's a different kind of sa paglilinis ng mga equipments, lalo na din sa lab. So you have to consider din yan. So you have to also talk to your mga suppliers kasi meron din sila mga binibigay ng mga technical sheets or mga recommendations din pagdating sa paglilinis or sanitize.
All right, Miss Van, thank you for your tips for our R&D who are attending this webinar. So we have remaining time, and we can do a question and answer portion for our two previous speaker for this afternoon. So we have received here a question for Miss May. Miss May, are you still there? We have a question for Miss May. So the question for Miss May is from Miss Jamie Revolido. Her question is, doesn't organic farming require more land than conventional farming? Isn't that worse for the environment? Miss May? I'll repeat the question, Miss May. Are you around? Doesn't organic farming require more land than conventional farming? Isn't that worse for the environment? I think Miss May is,
Having an intermittent connection right
yes.
now.
Okay.
So I have a question here for Miss Van.
Let's move to Miss
Miss
Van.
Van. You have many questions, Miss Van. You're very popular for the R&D and food safety.
Yes, yes, Jao and Nika.
So the question is, what are some common food safety issues encountered during product development? So I repeat, what are some common food safety issues encountered during product development?
That's a good question. No? Um, Maybe and if during product development, one of the food safety issue is that um, you might want to check or consider yung mga um, chemical or hazard analysis. You have to consider yung mga hazards that might be present to your uh, product, di ba? So during product development, at the earlier stage pa lang, at least you know kung ano yung pwedeng mga mikrobyo na pwedeng lumabas sa finished product. So that during the development, that you will gather data, di ba? So I think isa yun na mga food safety issues that sometimes may mga challenges si production. Ano namin dyan sa QA kasi hindi ito na-review ni R&D, hindi niya ito nakita agad. So at the earlier stage pa lang, end of development, that you review yung mga ingredients mo, what are your mga, kilalanin nyo yung microorganism that might be present to your ingredients. Diba? So you have to consider those things. So I think that's one of the food safety issue na nangyayari in reality. Once turned over sa production, may mga nangyayaring issue after ma-launch yung product. So we might want to check.
All right, Miss Van.
Thank you, Miss Van.
Okay. So right now we received another question from Miss Ria. Miss Ria, are you around? Here's a question. What
Yes,
are
ma'am.
the challenges of adding functional food to a certain product? Okay. What are the challenges of adding functional food to a certain product?
Okay, so we're just for us to answer that in a very subtle way. Kasi siguro if we, for example, we have a calamansi juice. Now, if you wanted to have this or to make this as functional food, parang sabihin na natin parang Japan, parang Fusho, gusto ko tong ipa-approve for functional food. So, yung existing product na calamansi juice, what are you gonna do? So, for example, you're going to add probiotic bacteria. So, if you're going to add that probiotic bacteria, you need to think of you need to think of the compatibility nung ia-add mong functional food or yung ia-add mong bioactive component doon sa product mo. You're going to consider maapektuhan ba ang kanyang organoleptic property, yung taste ba niya, yung itsura niya, magkakaroon ba ng changes, and isang you need to consider is yung kanyang shelf life. Pag nag-add ba ako ng probiotic o bacteria na ganito, lalo bang masu-shorten ang shelf life ng calamansi juice ko o lalong hahaba? So those are the things that you need to consider. So, yun lang po.
Okay, thank you, Miss Ria. So there's another question for you, Miss Ria. Are you still available, Nicole?
Yes, sir?
Yes, so how true functional foods nowadays are made from artificial nutrients? So I repeat, how true the functional food nowadays are made from artificial nutrients?
Okay, I'm thinking what that do they mean by artificial nutrients, ano? So siguro ito yung mga galing sa laboratory, so hindi nila in-extract from from plant or animal source. So We have actually, if I'm not mistaken, FDA. They were the one na nasa food safety law rin natin to. So, as long as these nutrients, di ba lahat ng additives natin sa mga pagkain natin is kailangan approved by FDA. So, if these artificial nutrients that pertaining to is pasok sa ating FDA, well, I think we can consider that as parang functional product. Sir Zhao,
Okay,
did
thank
I
you, Miss
answer
Ria.
that?
Yes, very comprehensive. So I would like to invite Miss May. Are you in the call?
Miss May?
So I think any of the speakers could answer this. How can be sure that organic food is safe?
Anyone from our speakers who can answer that question? I think Miss May is having a problem
Intermittent
for
connection
connection.
right now because it's heavy rain outside. So there is a question. I think anyone could answer this. In during product evaluation, the product development, what are the drivers on how to address adverse effect on health during evaluation? So I repeat, what are the controls? What are maybe the adverse effect on health during product evaluation?
Anyone from our speakers?
How about you, Nika? Do you have idea answering it? For me, Nika, for me, having adverse effect on evaluating food products could affect once you have increased dosage of eating high MSG foods, high fat. So that's why it is very to inform that you should control tasting samples. You should limitations evaluating food products for your health and also the food safety perspective.
Sir Zhao,
That's
can I
right.
answer your, I'm sorry to interrupt you guys, but with the question that you have for Miss May, so
Yes,
how
sure.
can we, ano na po yung question natin?
Oh,
Paano
the
na?
question is how can be sure that organic food is safe?
Okay. So, any food po, pag nakuha na natin yun sa market, may advantage po tayo pag organic siya with all the advantages, the pros and cons that was discussed a while ago. But the good thing about it is, paano mo malalaman kung safe siya o hindi? Of course, you're going to do all the things that you need to do. You're going to wash these fruits and vegetables. You consider it na parang meron siyang lagi, kahit na organic siya, parang lagi pa rin siyang may pesticide, kailangan mong ibabad sa tubig. So if ever na may uod or merong filth katulad po ng lupa, so we need to do the same thing for food safety purposes. So yun po, malalaman na ay nasa sa ating mga kamay, okay? Para maano natin, ma-ensure natin ang safety ng pagkain. It doesn't matter if is it coming from conventional way of farming or organic farming.
Very
Okay.
well said, Miss Ria. Thank you for answering that question. So, Miss May, are you around? We have lots of questions for Miss May. I think our viewers are very interested
Yes,
about organic
yes, that's
farming.
Hello,
right.
Mika, naririnig na ako?
Ayan, Miss
Yes.
May.
Hello?
Hi, Miss May. So
Are you
there's a
ready, Miss
question
May,
here.
for the
Yes.
question?
Go ahead, Nika.
Okay, Miss May, this is the question. How can you be sure
Yes.
that organic food is safe? How can you be
Hello,
sure
Nika?
that
Come
organic
again?
food is safe? Ito, Miss May, how can you be sure that
Hello, Nika?
organic
Can you
food
please
is
repeat
safe?
the question?
I think Miss May is not hearing us. Miss May?
Okay, so every farm that grows and sells organic foods needs to undergo a government inspection and approval. So after that, the farm needs to follow the required regulations and will be regularly monitored to ensure that
Okay, thank you. We're having a technical difficulty, right, Mika?
Let's try to wait. If
Okay.
Miss May will recover her connection. Sayang, parang ang ganda ng ina-explain mo
Oo
Hello?
sa
nga
akin.
eh.
Nika? Hello,
Ayan.
Nika, nawala ba ako?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Sige. Okay, I will repeat my answer. So, every farm that grows and sells approval. So, after that,
Right.
and will be regularly monitored to ensure that it follows all the organic practices and regulations. So even if you buy organic produce from other countries, the importers are required to follow the environmental regulations and federal standards. So, thank you. Yun lang po.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss May.
Hello? Daw?
Thank you, Miss May. I got your
Okay, thank you,
answer.
Daw. Thank you,
So
Diba?
thank you, Miss Van, Miss May, and Miss Ria, and so our participants who have sent their question in the comment box. Grabe, Mika, they're all very active right now. So I hope that, yes, great. And I hope that all of our speakers successfully answered all your questions. And if we're not able to answer your questions due to time limitations, we may still send them all to our official email address, the PWU foodtrends@gmail.com, and we'll try to answer them all. All right, we have now come to the announcement of the final set of winners. To recap, which is the more important, food safety or food quality? These are the choices to choose from. Food safety, letter A, food safety, letter B, food quality, letter C, both. The correct answer to our poll question is letter C, both food safety and food quality. So our lucky participants selected from those who have answered the poll question correctly, before the talk of Miss Van, you will win 100 pesos worth of load. Before we announce our winners, the PWU School of Food Science and Technology offers 3 courses. The Bachelor of Science in Food Technology, major in Bakery Technology. We also have Master in Food Safety Management, and last, we have Master of Science in Food Science. So our winners are Mr. Jedroy. Mr. Jedroy, and second winner is J. Mark Redondo. Congratulations, you will receive a text message or an email from the PWU foodtrends21@gmail.com on how to receive or to claim your prizes. We really value your feedbacks for us to keep improving for our future webinars. So please be informed that the link for the evaluation form for this afternoon session can be found at the chat box on the comment section on Facebook and YouTube channel. Kindly accomplish it to get your e-certificate, and remember the cutoff time the submission is until 5:30 p.m. Participants of the AM and PM session will be given a separate e-certificate.
Congratulations again to our last set of winners. So right now, may we call on Dr. Ligaya Braganza to award the Certificate of Appreciations to our speakers.
Thank you, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope our listeners and attendees were able to get the interconnectedness of all our topics and sessions. Okay? Now, may I call on Miss May Villavisa. Nagluloko kasi ang mga net dahil malakas ang ulan. So, the first certificate, the Certificate of Appreciation is hereby awarded to Miss May B. Villavisa in grateful and sincerest gratitude for her selfless and commendable service rendered as a resource speaker during the webinar entitled Food Quality and Food Safety, the Right Mix to a Healthier Lifestyle, on Session 2, Safe and Healthy Food Choices for Tomorrow, with a specific topic, Organic Farming and Agricultural Boon, given this 15th day of October 2021, signed Dr. Maria Ligaya Braganza, the Program Chair of the School of Food Science and Technology. Congratulations, may
Thank you, ma'am.
job well done. Okay? So next, may I call on Miss Ria. So dalawa pala kayong Ria. Si Ria Marzan and Ria Robles. Okay? The Philippine Women's University School of Food Science and Technology hereby awards the Certificate of Appreciation to Miss Alegria Robles for his grateful and sincerest gratitude for selfless and commendable service rendered as a resource speaker during the webinar on food quality and food safety, the right mix to healthier lifestyle. Section 2, safe and healthy food choices for tomorrow. On the topic, functional foods, better for you. Given this 15th day of October 2021, signed by yours truly, Program Chair, School of Food Science and Technology. Congratulations, Ria.
Thank you, ma'am.
Another job well done. Okay. May I call on the last but not the least. What a transformation for Miss Vanessa. Okay. The Philippine Women's University Food Science and Technology awards this Certificate of Appreciation to Vanessa Micah R. Boisilio in grateful and sincerest gratitude for her selfless and commendable service rendered as resource speaker during the conduct of the webinar entitled Food Quality and Food Safety, the right mix to a healthier lifestyle. Session 2, Safe and Healthy Food Choices for Tomorrow. Food Safety and Research, a crossover. Given this 15th day of October 2021, signed yours truly and the program chair at the School of Food Science and Technology. Congratulations, Vanessa. For those contemplating on going to the research, you can find Vanessa's topic very, very useful. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you for all the three resource persons. Okay. Back to you, Josh and Nika.
Thank you, Dean Braganza. So to formally end this webinar series, he is a technical consultant for risk-based products under the World Health Organization. Also, he is an authorized instructor and proctor for UK Highfield International and US American National Standards Institute. He is also the former Vice President for Program Development for Food Safety and Hygiene Academy of the Philippines. Currently, he is an assistant professor for Hospitality and Tourism Management and Risk Management as applied to foods, to safety, security, and sanitation of FINMA Arroyo University. Let us welcome Mr. Glenn De La Cruz, Food Safety and Hygiene Consultant, for his closing remarks.
First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizer of this webinar entitled Food Quality and Food Safety, the right mix to a healthier lifestyle. Especially to the School of Food Science and Technology headed by Dr. Ligaya Braganza and Dr. Ignacio Pablo. Normally, we do it face-to-face where we can see reactions from the audience. I'm used to having such crowd pre-pandemic. However, we are very lucky in spite of our current situation because we can still gather together, we can still interact, made possible by the new educational system with the use of technology. It is truly an honor given this opportunity to be with you all today. Indeed, a very informative discussions. I would like to congratulate as well all the experienced resource speakers with the supervision and well coached by our professors, Professor Rosalinda Lorilla and Professor Maria Divina Alcazabas. Thank you, ma'am, for continuously sharing your expertise with your students. A very interesting topic were discussed during the AM session related to a transforming consumers' perception towards healthy food options. I remember when I was still studying in our university, the Philippine Women's University, part of my studies about the consumer perceptions toward healthy delicious foods. I've learned that now, more than ever, we need to be aware of what we are eating. So we need to start changing our behavior and perception about the food choices we have. As a matter of fact, how we perceive food is actually our reality. So again, I want to congratulate Ms. Marasigan for enlightening us on how food really make us feel good and boost our moods. To Ms. Paras for stressing the future focus in terms of integrating the concept of safety and healthy issues in the food that we are eating. And of course, to Mr. Del Rosario for highlighting the concept of culinary and molecular gastronomy. In fact, something that we need to consider if we are producing our food, especially for public consumption. I am overwhelmed hearing the topics, and I remember Dr. Pablo said, there's really a wealth in culinology, or the commingling of culinary arts and science of food. We just need to be focused, and we need to embrace what we have now and how far we can go. We got a lot of things as well from our PM session entitled Safe and Healthy Food Choices for Tomorrow, as Ms. Villavesa discussed to us about practices in agriculture, especially organic farming, and the functional foods that is really better for us, as clearly explained by Ms. Robles. Indeed, we need to start changing our perception and redirecting our minds towards wellnessizing and healthicizing our food choices for a better tomorrow. Having said that, much appreciation to the topic presented to us by Ms. Boisillo. We need to continuously develop information. We really need to involve ourselves to different researches in food science and technology. I must say, my master's degree in food science safety management system from the Food Science and Technology Department of the Philippine Women's University served as my compass towards my continuous campaign and advocacy on education and research. The program increases my capacity in helping, starting from the most simplest way, not only to the food industry and the academy, but the community as a whole. The university provides an avenue to learn not only by the book, but through distinct professors and industry experienced students. And I think that's how we collaborate inside our classroom. That's how we maximize our learning through our evaluated experience. Again, thank you to all our support team, our participants from different schools for your time and participation. And remember, we are what we eat. So stay safe, everybody, and God bless us all.
Thank you, Mr. Glenn, for ending this webinar with your inspiring thoughts. We would like to thank all of our presenters providing these very interesting presentations about safe and health food choices for tomorrow. To all our participants, thank you for attending today's webinar. We hope that you found it interesting and helpful.
On behalf of the full food science and food safety CIT classes, as well as our professors, Ms. Debbie Alcazabas and Ms. Lynn Lorilia, we would like to thank the following for making this webinar possible. Mr. Vladimir Villamor from PWU Multimedia Center, Mr. Nelson Gilen, PWU Marketing Manager, and Ms. Rona May Tuanyo, Social Media Coordinator. Thank you from all of us. We will now be singing the PWU hymn. Please tune in until the end for our final announcement on how to get your e-certificates.
Others sing the praises of the Lamb of
That ends our webinar. For the final reminder, please be informed that the link for the evaluation form for the answer sessions now flash on your screen and can be found in the chat box or comment section on Facebook and YouTube channel. Kindly accomplish it to get your e-certificate, and please note that the cutoff for the submission is until 5:30 p.m. Thank you again, and we hope to see you on our next webinar
Yes,
series.
yes, you are.
We don't have any barriers here. We are like a family here in this institution. That's what PWU is different from different schools. I hope that the students would enroll here because they will learn things that they would use in the future as they go outside in the real world, and they would use it to improve themselves more and to be successful in their chosen career in the future. I am Mary Antoinette Salgado, a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Accountancy here in Philippine Women's University.